click is all it takes to lose everything.
We are in a cyber war. You can either be a defendant or you can be a victim.
There are many lessons we can learn from the Marriott breach, but probably one of the most important is technology doesn't matter if it's not designed and configured correctly. If you do not implement something properly, it is not going to work. And in this particular case, it's the area that most companies screw up on, and that's cryptography. Everybody talks about the importance of using cryptography to encrypt critical information. And I bet you every one of you in your organization is using crypto in many different areas. You have full disk encryption on laptops, you have database encryption, you have SSL or TLS, secure socket layer, transport layer security. You might even go in and have email encryption. Here's the problem. Everybody talks about the use of encryption to protect critical information. Yet most companies are not implementing it correctly. Most companies are making the flaw that Marriott made, which is they're storing the key with the data. If you store the key with the data, it defeats the whole purpose. And one of the things I always say, and it's very, very true when we talk about crypto, is when it comes to cyberspace, we lose common sense. Things we would never do, never ever do. In the real world, we do in cyberspace and consider it to be okay. Let me give you an example. I'm always traveling. I'm always staying in hotels. And imagine that I always lock my key in the hotel room. I'm always rushed. I always leave and I always forget my key. So I always have to go back to the front desk, wait in line and get another key. So I have a brilliant idea. Now, by the way, when I go brilliant like that, it means excessive sarcasm. It's really not brilliant. So here's my brilliant idea. I'm going to tape the key to the outside of my door. So now whenever I come back to my room, the key is there, right? Great. I take the key, open the door and go in. Then I keep it outside. So now when I come back from dinner, the key's on the outside of the door. When I come back from the gym, the key is always there. Now, because the key is taped outside the door 24/7, I never ever have to worry about losing my key. I can always get into my room. Now, most of you at this point are probably laughing. You're like, dude, it defeats the purpose. If I'm taping the key to the outside of the door, the lock has no value. Anybody can get in and anybody can steal my stuff. It defeats the entire purpose of utilizing a lock. Now, your laughter is going to turn to tears. That's what most companies, including Marriott, did. They stored the key with the data. Storing the key with the data defeats the whole purpose. That's like taping the key to the outside of the door. It doesn't accomplish anything. It gives you a false sense of security. So what you want to do is mimic what we do in the real world. Let's take a look. When I check into a hotel, they give me a key. I take the key and I keep it on my possession. I usually put the key in my wallet. Sometimes I might put it in my pocket, but the key's on my possession. Then when I open the door, I open the lock, but the key never leaves my possession. And after I open the lock, the key goes back in my wallet. So notice two simple rules. The key is stored on a separate entity other than the lock, and the key never leaves that entity. You follow those two rules, and you're on the winning team. That's all you need to do. So let's change terminology. Instead of me, let's call me a key server. So the rule of crypto is this. The keys are always stored on a separate key server that's separate from your servers, and the keys never leave the key server. So now you have your data, it comes into the server encrypted, goes to the key server decrypted and sent back. The data gets passed back and forth, but the keys never leave the key server. Now this video, this advice, easily worth $70,000. That's what we go in and charge our clients to do crypto assessments, $70,000 for this advice. And if you ask Marriott, we don't have all the numbers yet, but I'm guessing this would be $20 million advice from Marriott or even more. That's going to be probably the minimal fines they're going to go in and be suffering because of this. So learn from Marriott and always go in and ask two questions. Where are the keys stored, and are they separate from your data? If you just go in and do those two simple things, if you store your keys on a separate server and the keys never leave the server, then your crypto solution and your customer's data is properly protected. But if you do in my silly example, where you're taping the key to the outside of the door, you're storing your key with the data, it defeats the whole purpose, and you are not properly protecting and securing your customer's data.